Okay, till now we saw the personal pronoun and now we are moving to the topic verb conjugation, or it can also be told as verb endungen, which is verb endings in English. Okay, see, basically what is a verb? Any word that indicates an action is called verb. So we do have this verb conjugation in English, but not exactly like German. Okay, basically the verb conjugation in English is very simple since we memorized it from the childhood. For example, I live, you live, he lives, she lives. See, when it goes to third person, it changes like lives. Okay, but we don't have any certain rules like a verb conjugation rule. But here in German, we have different endings for different persons. Now I am going to teach you the endings for those persons. Okay, so starting with ish. For ish, the verb should be ending with e. The verb should end with e. For do, it should end with st. For do, the verb should end with what? St. Okay. And for sz, which is he, it and she, the verb should end with t. Okay. The verb should end with what? T. For wear, the verb should end with en. For wear, the verb should end with what? En. For ear, and the verb should end with t. And for this z and this z, which is you and they, the verb should end with en. And you can see there are some similarities. For example, for sz and ear, for these persons, for these four persons, the verb will obviously end with t. They both are same. And for this z and this z, the verb will end with en. And for wear, the verb will end with en. So for wear and this z's, the endings are same. Okay, till now we saw the personal pronoun, the verb conjugations and the verb endings. Okay, so now I am going to teach you how to apply those verb endings in the verb. Okay, let's talk about the verbs in German first. 99% of the verbs in German always ends with en. Okay, so how will you identify a verb? 99.9% of the verbs end with en. Okay, so you may have a confusion like, okay, whenever I see a word like it which ends with en, can I take it as a verb? Definitely not, because even your nouns, which is your naming words, even those nouns ends with en sometime. For example, Autobahnen. Autobahnen is highways, and Menschen. Menschen is people. So that's not a verb, right? But what is a verb which reflects an action? So you may have a doubt like, how will I find the difference then between a noun and a verb? It's very simple. We have no other go. We have to memorize the verb's meaning. We have to memorize what? Verb's meaning. Only if you know the meaning of the verbs, then you will be able to find out that whether that is a verb or a noun. Okay, so that's the difference between verb and a noun, and now we are going to see the application of those verb endings in a verb. Okay, so let's take an example verb, wohnen. Wohnen is to live. Can you see here? I've written in this whole form with this en. This is called the infinitive form of the verb. You may have a doubt. What is an infinitive form? What is this new term that they are using? Very simple. You don't have to confuse. Okay. This infinitive form means the general term is used is plural form. Okay, but in your throughout your A1 course or throughout your course, throughout your session or throughout your book, you will not see any word like plural form. You will always see a word called infinitive form. Infinitive form is nothing but this whole verb which is not conjugated. Okay, wohnen. Not only for wohnen, for the rest of the verbs which ends with this en. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, we are going to replace this en with the person's ending that I taught you in the last session. Okay, like, see, we are going to remove this en and according to the person, we are going to match the endings. Okay, shall we start? For ish, the verb will be ends with what? En, right? So, ish, wohne. Ish, wohne. For do, the verb should end with st, right? So, do wonst. Do wonst. And for sz, as I already taught you, the verb should end with what? Yes, t. So, for sz, the verb conjugation for wohnen is won't. What is that? Won't. And for wear, it is wohnen. For wear, it is wonen. For year, it's won't. As I told you before, the RSZ form and the year form, the conjugations will be same, right? So that's why it is year won't. Okay. Then for this Z and this Z, which is formal you and they, for them it is wonen. For them it is what? Wonen. See, the RSZ and year are same here, and the year and these two Z's are same. Okay, and you had a confusion, right, with the verb, I mean with the Z's, these three Z's, how will I find it in a sentence? And I clarified you with the sentence, right? So it is now even more simple. See, for this Z, the verb ended with T, and for this Z's, the verb ends with en. So if it comes with T, then you'll obviously know, okay, this is a third person Z. So only if it's with en, you'll have to see the previous sentences. Okay, so this is how you can conjugate a verb. Okay, this is the infinitive form, and this is how you conjugate any verb. So now I'm going to tell an important thing, that is, whichever verb which follows this verb conjugation rule to the sent person, that is called regular verbs. That is, the verb, when it is completely followed by this verb conjugation rule, then it is called regular verb. In German, they will tell it as regelmäßigen Verben, which is regular verb in English. Okay, so you may have a doubt. So obviously, if I have regular verbs, there will be also another category, right? Of course, we do have, that is irregular verb. In German, we will call it as unregelmäßigen Verben. Okay, so I taught you about the regular verb format now, and now we'll see the irregular verb.